All right. Josh Rugger here in studio. And Riley, first comment I see from Dan Scoff. Is Riley Bell going to be in the house? Here he is, right here.
Hi, Dan.
Yes, future Oklahoma graduate. You're going to be starting your degree in 17 days. Is that correct? Are you excited?
Yes. Yeah, I am.
You pumped up? This guy right here, he knows so much about the weather. He's going to be ripping it up. I mean, you should probably be teaching the classes at this point there. You know so much about the weather.
That's a little
yes.
humbling me a little bit.
Yeah. Well, Riley is here. He's job shadowing me today. We've been looking over all the model data. Just wanted to give you an update on the severe weather potential overnight tonight, as well as the cooler temperatures this weekend. And then we got a death ridge coming next week. And honestly, we don't mind that in the weather lab right now because it has been just so active and so busy. And this looks like it's going to be the last day of really active weather here in Northwest Arkansas before we get an extended dry spell with pretty intense heat. So we're going to get right to it right now. We're going to go ahead and look at our graphics. We're going to start with what's going on right now because check this out, Riley. It's 10:17 a.m. And it looks like we got somebody that's calling right now. I think that might be a scam caller. Go ahead and hit the do not disturb button on that, if you don't mind. I'm going to hit it over here too. It says D&D on it. Just hit that D&D button. There you go. Good. Yeah, getting another scam call here in the house. We always like to get it right when we do the weather live streams. But look at that heat index. It's 10:18 a.m., and we already have a heat index value of nearly 90 degrees in Fayetteville. Now, it's overdone in Springdale. I don't know what's going on with that sensor there. It always has the dew point at like 80. So that's a little bit overdone, but already feeling like 90 degrees as you step outside of Northwest Arkansas. Now, that's with a little bit more cloud cover in place. If you go south in the River Valley where those clouds are on the decrease, and Riley, I was talking to you about this, I think Northwest Arkansas is not going to see heat index values over 105 today.
Probably not.
And it's just because of all that cloud cover that's in place. But that's not going to be the case in the River Valley. Check it out in Boonville. Already feeling like 105 in portions of the River Valley, 99 in Salisaw, 93 in Fort Smith, and 96 in Poto. And that's where that excessive heat warning is in effect. You'll notice when I show this map here that Northwest Arkansas does not have a heat-related advisory or warning in place. And it makes sense when you look at satellite radar where that stationary front is located right now. Oh,
never mind.
Never mind. They did update it. Okay. So they did update it. There is a heat advisory in effect in Northwest Arkansas now. That's going to be from noon to 9 o'clock p.m. But the excessive heat warning is along and south of the Bobby Hopper Tunnel. And there it is right there, the heat advisory that was just now issued for Northwest Arkansas. So I guess I got to eat my words there. But it still won't be as hot today in Northwest Arkansas as it was the last few days. It's still going to be pretty intense, compressional warming as that stationary front sagging south and east, but not as hot in Northwest Arkansas. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's always the Medicare coverage. Cars extended warranty, probably the HRRR model trying to scam us right now, right? It's the HRRR calling, the HRRRing trying to call us and scam us out of a weather forecast. I wonder if it's going to do a pump fake tonight. We'll look over the models in just a minute. I'll tell you what, the graph this morning, I think, has a pretty good grasp of what's going to go down tomorrow morning. We'll check that out in just a minute. Telemarketers like to make appearances on these streams like Stan Lee's appearances in Marvel movies. That's exactly right. That's so good. Jacob says that they're going to recalibrate the Springdale sensor. Dan mentioned that. They did. Yeah, hopefully they do that soon because it's like it's just got a problem. Like it's not in the right spot or something's going on there. Because every time they, we look at Springdale, the dew points are like sitting at like 80. It's crazy. This is pretty funny. We rickrolled them yesterday after we got a live person online. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I think Peyton sent me a text message about that. That's really good. They deserve it too. Anytime we can waste a scammer's time, that's always a W in my book. Mm-hmm. So satellite radar right now, the stationary front's a little bit farther south and east. You'll see that when I zoom out here. But we do have some rain that's moving just to the northeast of our area right now. And if you zoom out here, that stationary front is now located just off to the northwest of Northwest Arkansas at this time. Now, we still got a lot of cloud cover in place right now, Riley. And I think that could lower the temperatures just a little bit, maybe compared to what the models were showing this morning. I mean, what do you think? I mean, do you think that compressional warming is going to take over? We still reach the middle 90s in Northwest Arkansas. Some of the models are saying it's going to get up to like 96, 97 today.
I don't think so.
I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. Maybe in the River Valley, we'll get a little bit less cloud cover.
There's
but look
going to be less.
Look at that's a pretty thick cloud deck that's moving through our area right now. So that's something to watch very closely. But regardless, that front is going to be moving through overnight tonight. And we were looking at that on the model data. And we're going to have a pretty good amount of instability to work with tonight as these thunderstorms fire up. They are going to be on a bit of a weakening trend as they move through northwest Arkansas. But I do think NWA is going to be the main focus for shower and storm development. And if I go back here and show the graphics full, you'll see that we've got that level 1 out of 5. Marginal risk of severe weather in place. The time frame mainly between 4 to 10 o'clock a.m. The threats are large hail and damaging winds. I think those are going to be the main concerns. We can show that right here. Here's the hail risk. You'll notice that the main risk of severe weather is off to the west, which does make sense. That's where those storms are really going to be firing up. In fact, they already are getting going in portions of eastern Colorado right now. We'll show that in just a minute. Of course, the damaging wind threat, significant damaging winds possible in southwest Kansas. We'll see some of those thunderstorms make their way into northwest Arkansas overnight tonight, again on the weakening trend. And still, I mean, we were looking at the model data, Riley, the photographs are not all that impressive, but never going to say that there's a zero risk for tornadoes. We saw that last week with Mansfield. And we're not going to be letting our guard down on that. But again, the severe weather risk is on the lower end. It is a marginal risk. I do agree with that. But still, not going to let our guard down, and we're going to be watching it very closely all throughout the morning hours. But if we zoom out a little bit farther off to the west here, we've had some pretty nasty thunderstorms going on in portions of Illinois and Indiana, as well as in Colorado. If we go out a little bit farther to the west, you can see that complex of storms going on just off to the east of Denver. Now, it doesn't look like those will impact our weather here. Of course, looks like we're having some radar errors there. The satellite's not showing up properly at all right now. I wonder what's going on there. Wow, it's completely frozen. I wonder if it's the Medicare company. But it's this stationary front that's going to be the focus for shower and storm activity overnight tonight into tomorrow. So let's go ahead and look through some of the model data here. This is the 4-kilometer graph. Typically, I don't like this model too much, but I think it has a pretty good idea unless it changed. Because it very well could have. So here we go. So we're looking here on future track. Okay, so it hasn't changed. Here comes the showers and storms overnight tonight. Now, it might be a little bit too early, I would say, with the storms roll in, just a little bit. But I think it has the right idea in terms of what these storms are going to look like. Just a line of storms, MCS type setup. It will be on the weakening trend, but we could see some damaging wind gusts, especially in far western portions of northwest Arkansas. That will continue as we go throughout the morning commute with perhaps some more moisture on the backside of the system. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw maybe some stratiform rain or something like that maybe the model is not picking up on. That could continue throughout the morning hours, but by the time we get to the afternoon, I think we're going to be nice and dry. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of shower and storm activity in the afternoon. I know some of the models are trying to keep that around, but I think that boundary pushes south of the area by the time we get to about lunchtime. So we'll see what happens there. And yeah, I mean, there you go. Trash can. All these models are trash. I mean, but the HRRR was just unbelievably terrible this morning. I mean, it's just unbelievable what's going on with these models.
It's been performing very poor for a long time.
It has, and there's got to be something going on with the equations or how it's processing things, because it's just all over the place. It just cannot pick up on a pattern like this, especially when we're in northwest flow. And that's every model with a northwest flow pattern. It can't pick up on these things very well. But I do think there's a good focus for shower and storm development tonight. We'll see what the latest graph had. And of course, like Dan said, it had nothing yesterday for Friday morning. Day 2 is trash. Exactly. I mean, and I bet you it takes it out in the next update right around noon. I bet you it takes all the rain out, and either, it's fizzling out as it moves in, or it pushes off to the east too quickly. It's just so bad. You know what? I probably shouldn't show it, but let's look at the HRRR. Just why not?
Take it with a grain of salt.
Take it with a grain of skull. And take it with a grain of scoff. Yes, we're scoffing at these models right now. But check out the HRRR here. I mean, every single model is just not good. Okay, well, that has a better idea, I think, on the shower and storm development there. So that's a little bit better compared to what we had earlier on this morning when I came in first thing in the morning. So I think this is a little bit more realistic, and I think the timing is pretty on point too. That's actually pretty good. Now, if it would just stay with that solution, I feel like it would have a good, pickup on everything. But I think those thunderstorms are going to be in and out by the time we get to the afternoon, and this model's showing that as well. So we'll see what happens. But temperatures tomorrow are going to feel amazing. I think we're going to be right around 80 degrees in northwest Arkansas. I think the cloud cover sticks around during the afternoon. If you got outdoor activities planned in the afternoon, you're going to be okay. I think I wouldn't move those at all, and I would get ready for some much cooler temperatures. And behind that boundary, the humidity is going to go down as well, so it's actually going to feel quite nice across our area. Now, I wanted to mention this though, because next week and perhaps beyond, Riley, it's about to get really hot. And not just for a short period of time like we've seen over the last several weeks, but for maybe a couple of weeks or longer, because we're going to have a death ridge built in.
We are.
And while that will lower the shower and storm chances, that will really heat us up. And I think this ridge of high pressure is going to be centered right over our area too, especially throughout the latter half of next week. I do buy the really hot pattern that the models have. Maybe not as intense as what some of them have, like 110 degrees, but it's going to be hot next week. So just get ready. But you'll see that here on the jet stream map. That ridge of high pressure is suppressed off to the west right now, the desert southwest. You've probably seen a lot of folks out there with temperatures in the 116, 117 in Phoenix, 128 in Death Valley.
I know El Paso's really good.
Yes, just absolutely brutal heat. And look at that ridge. It's going to build in. By the time we get to the middle part of next week, it's going to be centered right over the midsection of the country, and it is not moving anywhere at all. And typically you could see that happen with big time heat waves in the United States. That jet stream energy gets pushed way far to the north, like into Canada. And then that means the entire lower 48 gets intense heat, and it gets it for a while too. So this could be a long-term heat wave, not just for northwest Arkansas and the River Valley, but for the entire country, really. In fact, if you look at the 8 to 14-day temperature outlook, which I definitely do buy, looking at the pattern and looking at everything setting up, much warmer than normal temperatures for the entire country, if it will show up here. Come on, show up. There we go. Much warmer than normal temperatures of the entire country. And, I mean, look at the shade of red, Riley, that it's got over northwest Arkansas. Yeah. I mean, you can't get any higher than that. I mean, that's with like 90% confidence of above average temperatures. And again, this is not a temperature forecast. So above average could mean 97 degrees, in the River Valley. That's still above average, technically speaking. But I think it is going to be hot. It's not going to be GFS hot, though.
No.
What is up with the GFS? It always wants to make the temperatures just be insanely hot, like record-breaking heat every single day. What do you think's up with that? You think it's just
I don't know. Genuinely, I have no clue, but it's always like that.
You think it just overcompensates the ridge of high pressure?
Probably.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to, because it's not even close to even climatology here in northwest Arkansas. But it's going to be hot next week. Just be ready. Maston, if you just joined in, let's go ahead and get back to that severe weather risk, because I did want to talk about the heat next week, but the main thing on our mind is the severe weather overnight tonight to tomorrow. So here's the latest severe weather risk for you. I'm going to move us out of the way here. And that will load up there. So you can see latest risk that came out a few hours ago still has that level 1 out of 5 marginal risk. I don't think, Riley, we're going to see an upgrade to this. I would be surprised if we did in northwest Arkansas. Looking at the latest data, we're going to get another update within the next couple of hours or so. But I think a marginal risk seems about right with this setup. But again, here's the thing, and I mentioned this to you too, Riley, this morning. I've been mentioning this on air. We had a marginal risk of severe weather last week in the River Valley, and we ended up getting that tornado in Mansfield and 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts at Fort Smith Regional Airport. So don't take what you see here on the map as, word. I mean, a lot of different things can come together and bring significant severe weather to the area sometimes. And we'll definitely have a lot of instability. I mean, we're talking about 3,000, 4,000, potentially 5,000 Cape, especially along that boundary. Maybe that's a little bit overdone.
Yeah, I think
5,000
is a little
a little overdone. About 3,000 Cape.
3,000.
Yeah, one model was showing that. I forgot which one it was. It's probably the NAM. It always likes to overdo that. But we're going to be right along that boundary. If those storms ride the boundary and take the correct storm motion, they could take off, especially with the QLCS type setups, especially looking at the 0 to 3 kilometer shear. I mean, we have a little bit of that over our area. I think about 60 in terms of that 0 to 3 kilometer Cape, I think, give or take.
Yeah.
So that's enough for QLCS potential. So we're going to be watching that very closely. We never show the WPC, but look at the latest day one. So yeah, I haven't looked at that, Dan. So this is the Weather Prediction Center excessive rainfall forecast. And what you're basically looking at here is the risk for flash flooding. I know it can be a little bit confusing looking at excessive rainfall forecast, but a slight risk of excessive rainfall is centered over northwest Arkansas, along and north of the Bobby Hopper Tunnel. Slight risk, I believe, and Dan, correct me if I'm wrong here, I believe that is scattered flash flooding. So slight means scattered flash flooding, I think. If I'm wrong on that, please correct me. But I think marginal is isolated flash flooding, scattered is slight, widespread is moderate, and catastrophic is high. So we have according to the Weather Prediction Center, a slight risk of scattered flash flooding over northwest Arkansas, and marginal risk in portions of the River Valley along the I-40 corridor. And I do think that's a possibility with the heavy rain that's going to be moving through. You also saw on the graph there, maybe a little energy on the backside. Now, the models never pick up on stratiform rain very well. Yeah. I think we will see stratiform rain tomorrow on the back end of the system throughout the morning. That could really bump up your rainfall risk. Uh-oh. I think the emojis got blocked there. So it was some emoji. It was some emoji. I'm going to assume it was a thumbs up. I'm keeping my fingers crossed it was, at least that I said the right information. But that stratiform rain can really enhance your rainfall rates, and that's something that the models never pick up on. So we'll see what happens with that tomorrow morning. But right now, I mean, I'm glad we looked at that. I'm interested to see what exactly goes down or the positioning of the storms as they develop out to our west, because they are going to be on the weakening trend moving in. It is very important that we look at water vapor and things out the window right now. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to zoom out here just a little bit. We're going to look at water vapor and kind of see how this system is setting up right now. So you can see that. Wow. Look at that explosive development that happened yesterday out west in the Panhandle. Panhandle magic. So I can kind of see that piece of energy starting to nose in, Riley, along the Rocky Mountains. You can kind of see that there.
Oh, yeah.
It's very little bit subtle, but that boundary is going to allow for a focus for shower and storm development later on tonight. But I think this little piece of energy that's moving in off the Rockies, that's going to give us our forcing that we need for thunderstorms to develop out to our west and move into our area later on tonight. That's pretty interesting, though. Look how much, I mean, dude, we got a lot of cloud cover in place. I don't know if we're going to get above 95 degrees in northwest Arkansas like some of the models are showing. I would be surprised. I also like looking at high resolution water vapor. You can kind of see that piece of energy a little bit better. They're kicking off the Rocky Mountains. That's where those thunderstorms are firing off. Very large hail possible in Illinois and Indiana later on today as well, especially in northern Illinois. And it makes sense as that system pushes off to the east. But we've got a lot going on in the weather world right now. We've got heat today. We've got storms later on tonight. We've got, of course, the heat building back in next week. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show that severe weather risk one more time, and then we're going to wrap it up. But Riley, you got anything else to add in terms of the severe weather potential tonight? Anything we need to know about, or anything to add there?
I wouldn't really say so.
Yeah, it's a marginal risk of severe weather. It's not a high end severe weather threat, but it is still something that we've got to be diligent about. Any severe weather risk here in our area, especially with the amount of instability that we're going to have to work with. And that system moving in, we got to focus for shower and storm development along the boundary. We will have to keep a close eye on that. Roby, we had some rain-cooled air in southwest Missouri this morning. There was actually a few isolated thunderstorms in my neck of the woods in Bella Vista. There was a couple lightning strikes, a few isolated showers in Benton County as well. But yes, there was a pretty good little rain, pretty good amount of rain that moved through southwest Missouri and Berry and McDonald County last night. Thankfully, the severe weather threat stayed to the north because, man, I couldn't even imagine covering severe weather today. I'm running on E for empty right now, man. It's just this weather pattern has just been brutal, and it's obviously it's going to be really hot next week, but we'll take it. Right now, we need a break. Yeah. I had a few showers this morning in Rogers, and yep, David, those were those little isolated showers that popped up. Definitely. Had a little bit of heavy rainfall in portions of Benton County near the Bella Vista area. Otherwise, That wasn't too bad. It was nice to get a little refreshing shower this morning, especially when it's 80 degrees outside at 5 a.m. Are you kidding me? Stigler had a heat index of 90 early this morning. That's just unbelievable, dude. 5 o'clock a.m. It's feeling like 90 degrees outside. Oh, absolutely, Sarah. Thank you so much for always tuning in. We really appreciate it. Yes, Peyton, Dan, Zach will be here later on this evening. They'll give you the latest updates there, and then I'll be here holding down the fort tomorrow morning. And we'll get you through the severe weather if it does come to fruition in Northwest Arkansas. And yes, we did, Dan, and I added that as well, that 20% yesterday. I saw that piece of energy. I knew the main piece of energy was going to be off to the northeast, which did end up happening, but a little subtle piece made it into southwest Missouri and northwest Arkansas, allowed for a few isolated showers to pop up. Now, one more thing I want to look at. Drought monitor. The latest drought monitor came out today. Almost forgot to show that. And guess what, Riley? Drought's gone. It was there for a brief period of time. It made a brief stay in northwest Arkansas, that D1 drought, that moderate drought. Now it's pretty much gone, though. It's still there in portions of Boone County and just off to the west of there. So still got some D1 drought going on in far eastern portions of our coverage area. That surprises me a little bit with the amount of rain that we had. Abnormally dry conditions along in north of Fayetteville, where that D1 drought has shrunk a little bit. We will get a little bit more shower and storm activity tonight in these areas, maybe not as much in eastern portions of northwest Arkansas. But after that, it's going to be dry for a while, and we're probably going to have to keep a close eye on this drought monitor. Yeah. Check out what's going on here, too, just off to our northwest. Still got an exceptional drought going on just to the southeast of Wichita as well. So while we've been very fortunate to get quite a bit of rain so far this year, I think that's going to dry up quite literally as we go throughout the next several weeks in northwest Arkansas, because that ridge is going to be in place, and we're not going to get northwest flow anymore. We're just going to get sinking air. That's all we're going to get. You got to know it's sinking air flow. Joshua Weisel says, I know you're a Colts fan. What's your thoughts on the new uniforms released this morning? Josh, I haven't even looked at them yet. Just been so busy this morning. I'll have to check them out. Riley, you mind looking those up for me? We're gonna do a review on these uniforms before we wrap it up, because I am interested to see that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we need to talk about. I mean, I wish I could say it's not going to be muggy next week, Riley, but I think it is. Unfortunately, I think we're going to see not dew points in the 70s, but dew points in the 60s. Mm-hmm. So go to Twitter and go to the Colts Twitter page, and we can actually look at those right there. But here's the 2-day forecast timeline for the River Valley. You can see those temperatures again in the triple digits. I do buy that in the River Valley today. I think the clouds do decrease a little bit. Overnight lows in the middle 70s, rain chances topping out at 60%, mainly between about, I would say, 4 a.m. to 10 a.m., and then tapering off as we go throughout the afternoon, but still holding on to a 20% chance of showers and storms. And then much cooler temperatures coming up as we head towards the weekend. And here's that 7-day forecast as well. We'll mention that real quick. Just want to give everybody an update there. I know a lot of folks can't watch us right now on DirecTV. I know that's still going on, and hopefully that can get fixed soon. I will be posting the full forecast that we had this morning on social media, so you guys can see that if you don't have access to DirecTV. Oh, poor Dan. Okay, I've got to show you some of these pictures, Riley, of Dan's swimming pool. But, man, it's been getting battered by the rain over the last couple of weeks. Is it fixed yet, Dan? Is everything fixed now? Because I sure hope it is. I feel so bad. I would say this. Tonight, I would say we're going to get a pretty good amount of heavy rainfall in portions of Fayetteville if the stratiform rain comes to fruition. Yeah. But after that, Dan, I don't think we have to worry about any pool flooding anymore. I think it's just going to be pool weather for the next couple of weeks. I think you got to keep refilling the pool because we're going to have so much sinking air. Probably, yeah. Yes. Yeah, Dan, I sure hope that doesn't happen tonight. Dang, man. It's horrible. I hate that that's happening. Yeah, Roby, that pretty much sums it up. Typical weather, hot, more storms, and hot again. At least it's coming for the weekend, though. At least we get the cooler temperatures for the weekend. Those are the only days that matter in the long run. Yeah, it can be hot during the work week. Who cares? But you see 60% chance of showers and storms overnight tonight. High temperatures, lower to upper 80s as we head throughout the weekend, and then it's going to heat up again, and it's going to get even hotter than what you see on the 7-day forecast. River Valley, 99 today, 89 Friday, 90 on Saturday, with highs back in the upper 90s for the foreseeable future, I would say, Raleigh next week. Okay, that's good. It's about 95% fixed. So hopefully that can, if as long as it stays fixed tonight, Dan, I think you're going to be good to go for quite a while. All right, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Riley, any other thoughts? Anything I missed there, or anything you want to add? We gotta
anything.
take a look at the Riley index on some of these storms that are going on in Illinois and Colorado, ZDR and KDP and all that other jazz. I'm still trying to learn some stuff from this guy right here. He knows so much about radar, and we'll have to be watching it pretty closely tonight. Again, severe weather potential in Northwest Arkansas, cooler temperatures for the weekend, and then more heat for next week. But from Riley, from me, from Dan Scoff, and from Dan Scoff Swimming Pool, we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Thursday. Dan, Peyton, and Zach will be here this evening. They'll give you the latest updates on KNWA News starting at 5 o'clock, Fox 24 News at 5:30, and we will see you next time. Have a good one, everybody. God bless.